Shocking doesn't even begin to cover the buzz surrounding Alex Eala and Felix Auger-Aliassime as they step into the spotlight at the US Open Mixed Doubles Championship. On paper, this might look like just another first-round matchup, but once you look at the names, the personalities, the fan bases, and the history on both sides of the net, you realize this is anything but ordinary. Eala, the 21-year-old Filipino trailblazer whose rise has turned into one of the most exciting stories in women's tennis, is teaming up with Canadian star Felix Auger-Aliassime. Waiting across the net at Louis Armstrong Stadium is one of tennis' most recognizable power couples, Ukrainian standout Elina Svitolina and French showman Gael Monfils. Svitolina has spent years battling deep into the biggest tournaments on the WTA Tour, building a reputation as one of the toughest competitors in the game. Monfils, meanwhile, has been entertaining tennis crowds for nearly 2 decades with ridiculous athleticism, explosive movement, jaw-dropping shot-making, and a personality fans instantly connect with. And unlike Eala and Auger-Aliassime, Svitolina and Monfils don't have to spend much time figuring each other out. They're husband and wife. They know each other's personalities, emotions, routines, and competitive instincts better than almost any brand new doubles pairing possibly could. That alone makes them dangerous. But here's where things get really interesting. Eala and Auger-Aliassime aren't walking into this matchup empty-handed. They have their own connection, their own weapons, and one enormous advantage that can't be measured by a ranking number: the energy surrounding Alex Eala. Wherever Eala has played during her rise, Filipino supporters have shown up and made themselves heard. Her fan base has become a genuine part of the story. The US Open itself has described her as a player who packs venues, and this New York stage gives that following another huge opportunity to make its presence felt. Eala has already become the highest-ranked singles player in Philippine tennis history, and after reaching the second week of Wimbledon in 2026, she broke into the WTA Top 30. Auger-Aliassime brings a completely different resume. He's already experienced the pressure of the biggest stages in New York, reaching the US Open singles semifinals twice, and while this is his first Grand Slam mixed doubles appearance, he's hardly a stranger to the format. In 2024, he partnered Gabriela Dabrowski and helped Canada win an Olympic bronze medal in mixed doubles in Paris. So while Eala may bring the rapidly growing wave of excitement, Felix brings proven experience under major event pressure. Put those two ingredients together, and suddenly this wildcard team becomes a whole lot more dangerous than it might appear at first glance. Their connection goes deeper than simply being paired together for New York. Both players have ties to the Rafa Nadal Academy in Mallorca. Eala spent crucial developmental years there, building the foundation that helped turn her from a promising junior into an international professional. Auger-Aliassime also spent significant time training at the academy while working with Tony Nadal, who was part of his coaching team from 2021 through 2024. That doesn't magically create doubles chemistry overnight, but it does mean they share some familiar tennis DNA, similar training environments, exposure to the same high-performance culture, and an understanding of what elite preparation looks like. And that matters because mixed doubles in this version of the US Open gives teams almost no time to ease into a match. This isn't traditional Grand Slam tennis where players can spend several games feeling each other out. Through the semifinals, matches are played best-of-3 sets with short sets to 4 games, no ad scoring, and a 10-point match tiebreak replacing a full third set. Translation? You better come out swinging. A slow start can bury you. One bad service game can completely flip a set. One clutch return at deuce can become the biggest point of the match. That kind of fast, high-pressure format could play directly into what Eala and Auger-Aliassime do well. Eala loves taking the ball early. She plays with aggression from the baseline, looks to change direction quickly, and isn't afraid to challenge more established opponents. Felix gives the team raw firepower. His serve can take the racket out of an opponent's hands, and his ability to dictate with his forehand can open huge areas of the court. In mixed doubles, that combination can become nasty in a hurry. Felix can create the opening, and Eala can jump on it. Eala can apply pressure from the return side, and Felix can finish the point. They don't need to play exactly the same style. In fact, their differences may be what makes the pairing work. But Svitolina and Monfils present a completely different puzzle. Svitolina's ability to defend, extend rallies, and force opponents to hit extra balls can frustrate aggressive players. Monfils can turn defense into offense almost instantly, and his reach and athleticism at the net can create points that look completely dead until, somehow, he gets his racket on the ball. Then there's the chemistry factor. You can practice formations. You can discuss serving patterns. You can plan who takes the middle ball. but instinctive communication usually takes time, and Svitolina and Monfils have a level of personal familiarity that Eala and Felix simply cannot manufacture in a few practice sessions. That's what makes the matchup so fascinating. One side has established chemistry and massive experience. The other has youth, power, momentum, and the kind of crowd connection capable of changing the emotional temperature inside a stadium. And make no mistake, the Eala fan phenomenon is becoming bigger than a simple tennis storyline. For Filipino fans, every major stage she reaches carries extra meaning. The Philippines has never had a long list of internationally dominant tennis stars, so Eala's breakthrough has created something genuinely different. People aren't only following individual results, they're following a national first. They're watching someone from the Philippines walk into arenas normally dominated by tennis superpowers and look completely comfortable being there. That's why the flags matter. That's why the social media reaction matters. That's why Filipino communities show up. For a few hours, the tennis court becomes more than a sports venue. It becomes a place where an entire community can celebrate seeing one of its own competing among the biggest names in the game. And Felix gets to experience that energy from the same side of the net. What makes this partnership even more compelling is that neither player has to pretend to be the bigger personality. Felix already has his own established following, his own accomplishments, and his own major tournament experience. Eala is building something different, a wave of attention tied not only to her tennis, but to what her success represents. If the two players embrace those different strengths, the partnership has real potential. Mixed doubles rewards communication, but it also rewards clarity. Know your job, trust your partner, commit to the point, don't hesitate. In this shortened format, hesitation can cost you 2 games before you even realize what happened. That's why the opening stretch against Svitolina and Monfils is so important. If Eala and Felix establish themselves early, start landing first serves, attack second serves, and get the crowd involved, the pressure can shift quickly. But if Svitolina and Monfils use their experience to slow everything down, make Eala hit extra shots, and neutralize Felix's power, then the Canadian-Filipino partnership could find itself chasing the match. There's another reason tennis fans should care about this matchup. The entire redesigned mixed doubles event is built for moments exactly like this. The 2026 field is loaded with stars, including combinations featuring Novak Djokovic, Aryna Sabalenka, Serena Williams, Carlos Alcaraz, Jessica Pegula, Taylor Fritz, Iga Swiatek, Casper Ruud, and several other major names. Eala and Auger-Aliassime received a wildcard, just as Svitolina and Monfils did, meaning neither pairing is here simply because a computer ranking automatically placed them in the draw. They were selected because this matchup brings something people want to see: star power, personality, contrasting styles, and uncertainty. And uncertainty is the key word, because despite the dramatic claims already circulating around this match online, the results should not be treated as official until the match is actually completed. At the time this narration is being prepared, live coverage still shows Eala and Auger-Aliassime's first-round meeting with Svitolina and Monfils as an active match, so any claim that Alex and Felix have already completed a stunning victory would be jumping ahead of the facts. But in a way, that makes the story even more exciting, because right now everything is still on the table. We don't yet know whether the new partnership will pull off the upset. We don't know whether the husband and life experience of Svitolina and Monfils will ultimately make the difference. We don't know whether Eala's aggression and Felix's power will catch fire at exactly the right moment. What we do know is that this matchup represents another major step in Eala's rapidly expanding career. Mixed doubles gives fans a chance to see a different side of her game. Singles is largely about solving problems alone. Doubles demands communication, quick adjustments, trust, and the ability to respond instantly to what your partner is doing. For Eala, proving she can thrive in that environment would add yet another dimension to her growing reputation. And for Felix, this partnership gives him the chance to combine his power and experience with one of the most exciting young players in the women's game. Before the tournament, Eala said she was excited about playing with Auger-Aliassime and described the US Open as an electric place for doubles. Looking at the atmosphere surrounding this matchup, she wasn't exaggerating. Because whether this run lasts one match or turns into something much bigger, the partnership already has people paying attention. You have a Filipino trailblazer carrying the hopes of a passionate global fan base. You have a Canadian star who already knows what it feels like to make deep runs in New York. You have a married tennis power couple trying to use experience and chemistry to shut down a dangerous wildcard team. You have a shortened format where every point feels bigger than usual. And you have Louis Armstrong Stadium providing exactly the kind of setting where momentum can turn into chaos in a matter of minutes. That's what makes this more than a side event. It's a genuine US Open storyline. Alex Eala doesn't need an invented victory to make this moment significant. Simply being here, competing alongside Felix Auger-Aliassime against two world-famous opponents, is another reminder of how quickly her place in international tennis has changed. But if Eala and Felix can turn this opportunity into a deep run, then the conversation gets even more interesting. Suddenly, they wouldn't just be an intriguing wildcard pairing, they'd become a team nobody could afford to overlook. And with Eala's fearless aggression, Felix's firepower, their shared Rafa Nadal Academy connection, and a crowd ready to react to every big point, one thing is already clear: when these two step onto the court together, people are going to watch. The only question left is how far this story can go.